Love actually is like is the strongest force. It's very entheogenic. And I do think that the plants all have a unique transmission of love. So they all love you in a slightly different way. Um, and then only some of them, like only the ones that like make us feel good or like make us feel connected to our bodies or like are really accessible, are we like, those are like loving. And then some of these other forces don't fit with our idea of love. And so definitely like when it comes to the Amazonian teacher plants, everything I just said applies. Where, it was like, oh, really difficult in ways I didn't expect, in ways I felt really like that I would be prepared for or would be like easy for me as the person that I am with the practices that I have. And then I'm like, I just felt like day to day really uncomfortable in my body. And then in the actual ceremonies, kind of like some kind of very particular star nation was just like in my face, like blasting me with like a hose of cold water. Like that's kind of like how the like actual experience felt. And like if you were in a hot shower and you're relaxed and you're singing in the shower and all of a sudden the hot water runs out and you're like, ah, like that's kind of how I felt like to be receiving them in my body. And I don't know, I thought I was gonna love it. And I thought it was gonna feel like really natural for me. And there was a lot of resistance in a very somatic way. And yet I do feel that was those plants loving me enough, in the same way that like I'm in a process in a particular relationship in my life where I'm going farther than I've ever felt before into that idea of like, if I love you, I must hold you accountable, And I will say like in general, I don't take that role, but with this particular person, we have an agreement that we would hold each other accountable to the agreements from the beginning. So I'm like, this is what we agreed to do if the agreements were broken. And it's like that kind of feeling. Like I felt like those plants were like holding me accountable to things I agreed to do or ways I agreed to be or knowings that I mastered in other lifetimes but had like gotten buried in the mix of my personality in this life. They were just like, no, like this is what you said you were going to do. And this is what we said we were going to do. And yeah, so I did experience it as loving, but definitely in one of the ceremonies, it was probably toward the end, I said to the grandmother, like, I'm not feeling connected. I'm not to anything. I'm not feeling love. I'm not feeling pleasure. Like, where are those energies in this space? And they actually did say like, okay, like when they kind of give you a shower, like a one-on-one grandmother shower every night that you're in the ceremony energetically. And at the end of that time, they said, okay, she did straighten your connection with the medicine. So there actually was something just like a millimeter off in your connection that was beyond your tool set to make the full connection. And that's why you're feeling like kind of like, like if you're in the boat versus like if you fell out of the boat and you're holding onto the rope behind it and you're getting like banged around in the wake, like that's kind of how it felt. Like she like put me back in the boat and I was like, I just cried of relief and was like, okay, like thank you, this is different. And then I felt it felt more loving after that. And so that gave me a lot of respect for like the strictness of the practices, and maybe some of what I was sharing online, where I was like, I'm uncomfortable when I see this like Bob and Sana tincture for lucid dreams, because I asked them when I was there, like, can I take some of this plant home and like make tea and sit with it in meditation? And they were like, well, if you do that and the connection goes off and you haven't learned how to straighten it yet for yourself, like it can get really ugly. So they were like, if you keep coming back and you learn like like the tools that we use in this tradition to adjust the connection, then yes, we'll send you home with some stuff. But like, it's not recommended. Like the answer wasn't no. It was like, it's not recommended and here's why. And I really felt that. I really had that experience. Yeah. And on a certain level, it's all love. So if you can like get to that place, then absolutely. But I would just say, like, you know, these are old, these are ancient, these are strong. These plants know themselves. There's no wobble. They're like gonna tell you exactly how it is, and that doesn't like always feel like the kind of love that would be most welcomed in that moment.